Hello, welcome back. So this week I'm going to talk about the books I read, and then I'm going to give you my spooky season TBR for the last week of October. I thought I'd save it for then. So this week I read and listened to 14 books. I thought I'd just mention where I get most of my books from, and it is the library. So I borrow from the library. The library also has an amazing selection of audiobooks and movies and all that jazz, magazines. We mostly use the apps Libby and I think BorrowBox. I don't really use Canopy because I don't really watch the movies, but I think it's a fantastic resource to go to your library. You'd be surprised at how much your membership gives you access to. So that's where I mostly listen to everything. So I'll start with the books that I listened to this week. So we've got Peace in Every Step by Thich Nhat Hanh. I gave this 3 stars. In the rush of modern life, we tend to lose touch with the peace that is available in each moment. So I love Thich Nhat Hanh. I've read a lot of the stuff. I think I've gotten to the point now where it's like, it's pretty much the same thing. That's why I gave it 3 stars. Like, it's okay. It's not my favorite of his works, but it was fine. There were some things, just a constant reminder to slow down, be present in the moment. When you do the dishes, and do the dishes. When you talk to a friend, talk with your friend. When you're eating your food, eat your food. Just really sink into what you were doing and be like all there. And that's how you find peace. So the next book that I listened to was Dear Girls, Intimate Tales, Untold Secrets, and Advice for Living Your Best Life by Ali Wong. So I've never been a big fan of like memoirs and autobiographies and stuff. So I thought maybe if I try out some written by like funny people, I might enjoy it more. Ali Wong's one I gave 3. So Ali Wong is a comedian who's like a famous comedian. She's been in movies, she's got television shows. Look, she is funny. There was a lot of yelling in this though. I'm not a big fan of like yelling in audiobooks. And yeah, it was fine. It was like sort of entertaining, but it's not like anything amazing. I found her comedy shows funnier than her book. But it was okay. It was a bit gross how constantly she mentions that she trapped her husband, and sort of just sees him as like a meal ticket, even though now like I know that she probably out earns him. But yeah, I don't know if I like agreed with everything she said and all her advice that she gave. And then I listened to Scrappy Little Nobody by Anna Kendrick. So I've always liked Anna Kendrick in every movie she's in. She's like a sarcastic little whippersnapper. And I've always enjoyed her. And like I said, this one I gave 3 stars as well. Like, it's okay. It's just not, I don't know. I'm not that into certain autobiographies or memoirs, I guess you would say. It makes me really uncomfortable reading about children working in the film television industry. I just don't think it's the safest. And then we've got Wildflowers by Peggy Frew. They were still who they'd always been, still those sisters, but on this afternoon, in this car, driving with the windows down between cane fields under a deepening sky with purple cut-out mountains in the distance, they were wearing it so lightly, their bossiness and flakiness and wildness. They were wearing it like they used to, like it was supple, slippery, not completely fixed, like it could be taken off. I know that doesn't really tell you a lot about what that book's about. It's just basically the relationship dynamic between 3 sisters, one of whom has like substance abuse, one of whom seems to be going through extreme depression. I just couldn't get into it. It's not like the writing was good, it's just I didn't care. I didn't get invested in any of the characters. And I don't know if it's just I can't say that it's not that I'm into just character-driven books, because there are some character-driven books that I really love. I guess it's harder for me to get into them, and they have to be like really amazing for me to get into them, and this just didn't grab my attention as much. I think I DNF'd it at 50%. I got like half the way through, and then I was just like, I don't want to do it anymore. That one. And then we've got Crave by Tracy Wolff. I also DNF'd this one. My whole world changed when I stepped inside the academy. Nothing is right about this place or the other students in it. And here I am, a mere mortal among gods or monsters, and I can't decide which of these warring factions I belong to, if I belong at all. I only know the one thing that unites them is their hatred of me. I couldn't. So this one was very reminiscent of Twilight. And while I loved that when I was 14 years old, it doesn't cut it for me as an adult. It was very much like set up with the guy who's like so dangerous and straight away tells her to like, get out of here, leave now, if you know what's good for you. So obviously that's the love interest. Sorry, I'm a bit under the weather. I just wasn't into it, as I didn't care. Like I don't care. I don't want to be in her POV either. I didn't really enjoy her POV. So I did not finish Crave. And then I listened to A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking by T. Kingfisher. I gave this 4.75 stars. This is, I guess, classed as a middle grade book. 14-year-old Mona isn't like the wizards charged with defending the city. She can't control lightning or speak to water. Her familiar is a sourdough starter, and her magic only works on bread. She has a comfortable life in her aunt's bakery, making gingerbread men dance. But Mona's life is turned upside down when she finds a dead body in the bakery. An assassin is stalking the streets of Mona's city, preying on magic folk, and it appears that Mona is his next target. In an embattled city suddenly bereft of wizards, the assassin may be the least of Mona's worries. Alright, so this was really, really cute. It was a bit dark, I'm going to say. So I don't know what age range to recommend it to. It really depends on the child. But it's still entertaining to me as an adult. Sometimes, I'm telling you, man, sometimes these middle grade books are just a lot of fun. And this was the case. So I listened to this and it was great to listen to. Mona's amazing. She's a really plucky, courageous, generous 14-year-old girl, dealing with a lot of heavy stuff, trying her best to protect the people that she loves and do the right thing and take on a huge amount of responsibility. Sort of a mystery, someone's going around killing wizards, and that's sort of a mystery you've got to like sort of unfold, and Mona has to go through a lot of ordeals, but she really obviously comes into her power, and she is amazing. I don't want to give it away what happens, but it was really adorable. It had a real cozy feel because it's a bakery. She lives in a bakery. Her magic is with like dough. She can tell the bread not to burn, or she'll massage it and say to it like, be really fluffy and light. So it's sort of like that she speaks her intention into the baked goods, and she can sort of bring to life gingerbread man, sort of that whole golem thing where you shape something out of dough and it becomes animated. It was great. I love how everything sort of panned out. I did cry. I'm not going to lie, there was a character in there, and I saw what was going to happen, and I didn't even think I was that attached to that character. I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't think I was. But then when they sort of made their sacrifice, I'm not giving away because I'm not telling you who it is, but when they made their sacrifice for everybody else's well-being, I started crying. I'm a big sook. So it got me. It did get me. And that's like, if a book can make me cry and feel something, and like, well done to that book. We've got Holy Woman, A Divine Adventure by Lewis Omer. Haunted by questions about what it means to be female in a religion that worships a male god, she left behind a church and home to ask women around the world, how can we exist in patriarchal religion, and how can a woman be holy? This wasn't what I was hoping it would be. I didn't like the way it was written. I'm going to be honest, straight out the gate. It was just, I'm here in this country, now I'm here, and now I'm here, and now I'm here. And I just say this, and here are some things I learned. It was just very disjointed and abrupt, and I couldn't get into it. There was no like atmosphere. There was, the pacing was really weird. The way it was constructed was weird. Her musings weren't really like that, astounding, so to speak. It wasn't what I was hoping. It wasn't the lens I was hoping that they would use to look at this with and discuss these topics with. It was just like, felt flat for me. So I DNF'd that one. An Exciting and Vivid Inner Life by Paul Dalla Rosa, which was supposed to be a bunch of short stories about people with an exciting and vivid inner life. No, bro. Their inner lives were neither vivid nor exciting. I did not care for any of the characters. I think I read half the book, half the stories, didn't care about a single one of the characters. This is all really character driven. It's not really any plot in their stories. It's just supposed to be getting to know the characters. I didn't care about any of them. I found a lot of them really dull, a lot of them boring, some of them just gross. I just felt like I was wasting my time reading this. There was nothing that was really moving me or making me think about anything thought-provoking. No, it just was not for me. Hydra, Adrian Howell. Anya is a young, ambitious antiquarian, passionate for the clean and balanced lines of mid-century furniture. She's intent on classifying objects based on emotional response, and when her career goes awry, Anya finds herself adrift. Like a close friend, she confesses her intimacies and rage to us with candor, tenderness, and humour. So she ends up finding a beachside cottage on a naval base offering a 100-year lease. So that's where she ends up. This was a bit weird. Anya was a bit odd. I didn't really even feel like I got a true sense of who Anya was. It was sort of like a coldness and detachment there, but then she also acted really erratically and a bit aggressively. It was a bit of a bizarre character. I don't feel like she was really like fleshed out realistically, I guess. So she was an antiques sort of person, and then she found a chair that a widow had and she like wanted it. That's my cats in the kitchen. And she ended up getting fired. She was really unprofessional the way she went about it. She was really petty, and it was like all the antique stealers were pitted against each other trying to grab the steals, and it was a real, cutthroat industry. And I'm like, okay. So then she just packs everything up. Her marriage has failed as well. So I hate saying marriage failed, but her marriage has ended. And so she packs all things up and takes this 100-year lease. She's got really no one, to be honest, no real friends, no. Well, she has a friend. I wouldn't call it a friend. No children, no family. She's got like a biological father who she sort of stays in touch with, but she doesn't really have a great relationship with, and it seems like a pointless relationship. He's got a new family. And then she gets caught up in like this fable, like this sort of urban legend about this creature. I think it's called Anaba, cat-like creature, and who's supposed to roam the area that she's in. Look, it's just a bit. Nothing really happens, to be honest with you. It's not. I didn't really I read it all. It was easy to read, but nothing really happens. The mystery isn't that mysterious. Like, you don't really get caught up that much in it, and then when it's resolved, you're like, that was it? Okay. Yeah, I don't know what to say, but I think I gave it 3 stars. Like, it's fine. Before the Coffee Gets Cold, Tales from the Cafe by Oshikazu Kawaguchi. Hidden down a side street in Tokyo, Cafe Funicula, maybe, boasts many things. Good coffee, good conversation, friendly cast of regulars. But the cafe also offers its customers a unique experience, the chance to travel in time. So I think with this one, the issue for me, I think what did I give it? I probably maybe gave it 3 stars. I need to write it down. I don't think I would have given it more than that. I think there might be a lost in translation thing. The way it's translated is like not grammatically great. It was very hard to read. It feels like a book that someone's translated from another language and not done like a stellar job at it. It's very odd, and it's like, what's happening? They repeat a lot the rules about the cafe. So the rules of the cafe are that you can only go and see someone who's been to the cafe before. So pretty much everyone goes to see someone they love who's died. Like, that's the only reason really you would go back in time, is to talk to someone that you love who's died. So that person would have had to have visited the cafe in their lifetime. Secondly, you cannot leave your seat. So you have to stay in the seat at the bar. You have to drink your coffee before it gets cold, because if it gets cold, you're going to be stuck there as a ghost until someone else, doesn't drink their coffee. But the coffee seems to like get cold in like literally 3 minutes. So I'm like, it's a very, very brief exchange. It's like a couple of sentences exchanged. you're not guaranteed that the person's going to be in the cafe at the time that you're in there for. And I'm like, what? Really? So this person spent all this money and they're going to go back and the person might not be there? I think that's a bit crap. There's a whole thing about the people who run it, and it was confusing. Like I said, the way that it was written, I was like, wait, what's their link? And you're trying to like understand the dynamic and the relationships. I didn't find it that great. I didn't even find any of the stories particularly sad or moving, even though it's all about people visiting their deceased loved ones. It was just cold for me. It was really cold. So I feel like I've got tickles on my face. So yeah, I know this one's been hyped up a lot, but I feel like it probably is the translation that just didn't bring it across, or that's just the way it's written. I don't know. Then I've got The Mediterranean Dish by Susie Karadshe. I'm going to just show you some of the pages so you can sort of see what sort of recipes are in here. So it says Mediterranean. It's definitely Mediterranean and like Middle Eastern. I think the author is Egyptian, so it's got a bit of a mesh, like Turkish and all that sort of stuff as well. This I've already made one dish from here. It was okay. There's a lot of heavy use of mustards, strangely enough, in this one. But I have bookmarked a few, so I'm not going to rate it. It's a recipe book. I'll let you know how they go in my craft corner, I guess, if they were delicious or not. But yeah, this was fun to flip through, and it gave me some new ideas, and I'm trying to eat more Mediterranean like my ancestors. Then we've got Girl Crush by Florence Given. This is a hot, dark story. Hi Wonderland, it's Eartha on a burner account, the real Eartha. I'm here to tell you that I'm not insane, I'm not a liar, that I've been abused by the powerful, and I want to raise Wonderland to the ground. How am I going to do that? You must be asking yourself. With the only shred of power I have left, the truth. Okay, so I gave this 2.75. Look, I'll start with what I liked about it. So I resonated with the struggle, how hard it is to leave a really long-term unhealthy relationship that's like sort of damaged you and your sense of self-worth and everything else, like how hard it is to leave. That I resonated with. I resonated with coming to terms with your sexuality late in life as well, and sort of accepting that part of yourself, and then trying to like totally reconstruct like, who am I and what does this mean for me and everything else. So I resonated with that. I don't think this is the buyer representation anybody asked for. None of the characters, I didn't like any of the characters. They were all problematic and not in like a fun to read way. I didn't enjoy the writing. The writing felt really unpolished, not great. This was about, Wonderland is almost like Instagram. It's similar-ish. So this person ends up becoming like a social media influencer sort of person. It's this topic that I just don't want to read about. I don't care about. I just don't want to read about it. I don't want to read about the need to have followers and to do promos and make money that way. I just don't like it. Like I said, the way they handled her coming to realize that she's bi after leaving a toxic relationship. Look, this whole book came across as really man-hatery. Going to just be honest with you, like full man-hatery. So I don't really vibe with that. I don't really want to, like, I understand having issues with like the patriarchy and certain men, but just totally leaving, like hating all men. That's a bit ick for me. And it just got really bizarre. It just sort of, you're like, what's happening? It's sort of, I guess they're trying to say that is she going insane? But it's, yeah, I just didn't enjoy it. The ending was just like, it was a bit cringe. There were lots of bits of this that I just felt cringy. And the way that they spoke, the dialogue and the vernacular, and then it would show like texts to each other. Wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. I just, like I said, obviously I don't like the writing style. I didn't really like the story. I didn't care for the character. Like it, guys. Then we've got Lifetime, The New Science of the Body Clock and How It Can Revolutionize Your Sleep and Health by Russell Foster. I think I gave this like 3.5 stars. I'm going to be honest with you. So I've read a lot of books about the circadian clock and everything like that. It's a topic that I'm very wildly interested in. I've been someone who's struggled with sleep since I was 14. I've had like sleep studies done, and pretty much I have spontaneous arousals where they don't understand why I'm waking up. There seems to be no physiological reason or whatever that I'm waking up. I just randomly wake up 14 plus times a night. And so for me, the most success I've had is with trying to use the body clock, circadian rhythm to use my sleep. So I'm going to sum it up. This one is a bit science heavy, so it's not that easy to read. It's a little hard to read to get to the what's the actual point that you're trying to tell me? What can I use? What can I apply to my life? It's not great for that. I think his name is it Panda Sachin, The Circadian Code. I think that's so far out of all of the circadian clock, body clock code, rhythms, whatever books that I've read, that has been the easiest, most useful read. I highly recommend that book. The points I'm going to just give you straight out is the most helpful things, ones that have the most impact, would be to have the same wake and sleep times, to go outside and get the dawn light in your eyes and on your body, to get the dusk light on your eyes and your body. That is what really helps set your clock. To try and have all of your eating more in the daylight hours, so load them more heavily in the daylight hours, eat less at night. Same for exercise, try and do all of your movement and everything in the daylight hours. Those are the main ones. Obviously it's it's okay, but I've just personally found the circadian code a lot more digestible and enjoyable to read. So but yeah, I highly recommend trying to get yourself in the circadian rhythms. Although that being said too, they also mention that some people do have different sleep styles. So there are early birds and night owls, and just finding the right rhythm for you personally. But this one is How to Keep House While Drowning, A Gentle Approach to Cleaning and Organizing by Casey Davis. This is amazing. I have never read anything like this before. So this is extremely helpful for those of us who struggle with depression, with chronic illness, who are neurodivergent, just for people who find keeping house maybe overwhelming, that they're not good at it, that they just struggle with it. I'm going to read what I think is the best way to try and sum it up. I'm going to read some of the chapter titles, maybe talk through them. So we've got Care Tasks Are Morally Neutral, Kindness to Future You, Gentle Skill Building, Gentle Self-Talk, Mess Has No Inherent Meaning, Care Tasks Are Functional, Find the Compassionate Observer, Organized is Not the Same as Tidy, Kickstarting Motivation, Care Tasks Are Cyclical, Setting Functional Priorities, Women and Care Tasks, You Can't Save the Rainforest If You're Depressed, Drop the Plastic Balls, Doing the Dishes, When You Don't Have Kids, When It's Hard to Shower, Caring for Your Body When You Hate It, I Am Allowed to Be Human, Good Enough is Perfect, Changing Bed Sheets, Rest is a Right, Not a Reward, Division of Labor, The Rest Should Be Fair, Gentle Skill Building, so bathrooms, it goes through the areas of the house, A System for Keeping Your Car Clean, When Your Body Doesn't Cooperate, Contributing is Morally Neutral, Cleaning and Parental Trauma, Critical Family Members, Rhythms over Routines, Maintaining a Space, Rituals like Closing Duties, Skill Deficit versus Support Deficit, Outsourcing Care Tasks is Morally Neutral, Exercise Sucks, Your Weight is Morally Neutral, Food is Morally Neutral, Getting Back into Rhythm, and You Deserve a Beautiful Sunday. So this like I said, this was amazing. I could literally talk about every item. I'm just going to show you some examples of the pages. This is graphs that she's done in terms of prioritizing. So writing down things that you have to do. So for instance, having a shower, vacuuming the house, and then putting it on a scale of how much effort it takes and also how much impact it makes for you. So how either rewarding it is or how much it benefits your mood and your physical well-being after having done it. And that way you can see like which efforts are low energy but have a high impact, and do those ones the most. So whatever that is for you, whatever takes the least amount of energy but is the most rewarding or has the most beneficial impact on your mood and behavior in your day, do those. Do you know what I mean? And the ones that have the highest, take the highest amount of energy to do and have the lowest impact, put those to the side or consider outsourcing them if you're financially able. This is something too a lot of people have like guilt and shame with, is paying someone to do like say their laundry or scrubbing their floors or whatever it is that they struggle most with. If you have the finances to consider doing that. There was just, like I said, all of these titles, even with like the trauma, like the family stuff, if there was a lot of guilt and shame and punishment given to you as a child in terms of cleanliness and organization, and family members who use like those sorts of things, like they'll come to your house and say, oh, you know, your house is a pigsty, or I see you haven't bothered vacuuming, all that sort of stuff. When your body doesn't cooperate, so when you're having chronic fatigue and everything else, the juggling the balls one was drop the plastic balls means that there's obviously tasks that are more necessary to be done. So those are the glass balls, and then everything else that's not necessary, but you might feel like I should be doing it, just let them go. It's okay. It's okay. You've got a pile of laundry there. Do you know what I mean? You've got to do what you can and what is best for you. And this, like I said, this is amazing. I didn't even realize too how critical my self-talk was in terms of if my house isn't messy. I've always had a big thing with that. The biggest reason I hate people randomly dropping by is if my house isn't spotless, I feel like a piece of shit, which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's something that I've had to learn to be like, man, this is life. Life is messy, and I'm not a failure as a human being if my house isn't picture perfect, and it's okay, and that people don't care. Do you know what I mean? Like we're all just trying to like make it through the day. It's okay. Like I don't care when I go to my friend's house and it's messy as shit. I don't care. I'm there to see my friend. I'm not there to critique her house. Like I don't care. It's about spending the time. So I'm like, why can't I feel that way? Why can't I just be happy to invite guests instead of straight away spewing out apologies and everything else? Even though I put that pressure on myself in terms of my areas of the house. But also too, I grew up like with parents who were hoarders and in extreme mess and clutter. And so that is like triggering for me. It was like, reminds me of my childhood and suffocation and that I felt, and like the instability and the unsafeness and everything else. So I understand, like I've got a whole bunch wrapped up with like clean and tidy house means, you know, I'm cared for and everyone's loved and everyone's safe. But yeah, there are things that I struggle with. Like I struggle with washing my hair. It's something that takes a lot of energy for me, and something that I don't really like care about that much. So it's something that I don't do as often, whereas I vacuum every day because having clean floors really gives me like sense of peace, and I can relax, and I feel like the house is clean. If the floors are clean, I feel like the house is clean. It's a weird, you know, it's a weird thing. So that's why I vacuum every day. So everyone's got different, that's what I mean, everyone's got different things, and you just got to find what your main priorities are, what makes you feel the most good, and let everything else go. Like you don't have to do everything. It's okay. It's okay. Like that's just the biggest thing about this. But like there's a lot of great tips on how to navigate some stuff. Like I'm going to read through it again. There's stuff that I didn't think about like even thinking about it in that way or doing it in that certain way. And I'm like, why wasn't I doing this? This is so much easier on me. But I never thought of it that way before. It's sort of like too, when you learn how to keep a home and you go on Pinterest and you go on Google and they have all these like routine, like have this routine and do this every day and wash the dishes and do the sink here. That might be like doable for people who have the energy reserves, who have like the mental ability to do that, who don't have other issues. But for the rest of us, it's like, it just makes you feel like even more of a loser, that you can't even follow that schedule or whatever it is. And yeah, this amazing. Highly recommend. Like I said, I'm not doing it justice. I'm not talking about it clearly enough. But I absolutely love it. And like I said, I'm going to read it again, and write down, like implement some of the strategies and mind frames and remind myself, talk to yourself in this way and think about it in this way and view it in this way, and it just makes it less daunting and upsetting and traumatizing. So how to keep house while drowning, highly recommend. Going on to my TBR, spooky season TBR, we've got Belladonna by Adeline Grace. I have Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. I have The X-Hex by Erin Sterling. Ordinary Monsters by J.M. Miro. These Witches Don't Burn by Isabel, I think that says Sterling as well, I've got a few Sterlings on this one. And Witch by Lisa Lister. So I'm excited. These are all like definitely up my alley. I absolutely love this theme. As you know, Halloween is my favorite holiday of the year, more than Easter and Christmas. I just really like it. I think it's fun. I vibe with it. You don't have to buy people presents. It's a big thing I have with the other holidays, is like the expectation of commercial gift exchange. I do buy candy, I guess, to give out to children. I don't mind doing that. It's a lot also more economically feasible. And I just like it. I like dressing up too back in the day, like getting to, you know, be a character and have fun, and it's a bit more lighthearted than the other ones. And you don't have to see family on that day if you don't want to. It's none of that obligation with it, I think. And it's a lot of like inner child play. So those are the books that I'm probably definitely going to read all of them. And I might even read some more, but those are the ones I will definitely read. My absolute favorite book that I read this week was the How to Keep House. And my favorite fiction was The Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking. So I had, like, it's great when you have a book you have some books that are really stellar. It just really adds some pep in your step. But I hope that wherever you are having a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, and that you're being kind to yourself. And as always, stay wild, star child.